Folks, One Rental at a Time is a very different YouTube channel because we bring on experts from across the domain. Here we have the CEO of Hemlane, where we usually talk about property management, self-management, using systems, technology, all of that to just be better. But today we're going to step back and we're going to realize we are entering a recession. We are going to talk about what we would do as an employee or our message to employees in two very kind of important topics. So the first one, Dana, we're going to talk about why recessions are actually a good thing, which is probably not something most people think about. So Dana, thank you for being here. So what do you think of this crazy topic? Recessions are a good thing.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had a recession since the 2008, 2009, right? And so we've had this bull run. Both capital was cheap, interest rates were low, unemployment rates were low. And what basically happened, I think, across the industry was there wasn't focus, or not across the industry, just across the nation
General.
of
Yeah.
general focus. And I do believe recessions are really good for multiple reasons. I think the number one reason is focus. When you know there is a recession, you suddenly start to worry about the things that matter most. And you have, when there's not a recession and there's tons of capital, you kind of are all over the place trying to get into everything. And so I think that is the first thing, is focus, I would say, across the board. That recession is a good thing. You focus on the things that matter. Let me give in two examples of it, and then I want to hear from you. First example is personally. You may sit there and start to think about what actually makes you happy, right? Before the recession, you might be like, fantastic, my job is so stable. I'm going to go out and do a kitchen remodel and purchase a rental property. Now you might take a step back and say, there's a recession. I shouldn't do that kitchen remodel for my own personal home. I should start thinking about my future, my stability, and maybe only purchase that rental property. So that is what I have on the personal side of focus. Focus on the things that really matter and that really will make you happy, keep you happy, give you that long-term success. On the professional side, I think it's focus on, with whether it's your manager, whether you run your own company, what is going to have you survive a recession, and focus on those one or two things. And then everything else comes secondary, because that is your number. That's what you should be doing. And it could be having a conversation with your boss about, how stable is this industry? How stable is my job? Am I in the right position at the company to make sure it stays around? So I think with a recession, both personally and professionally, you really do need to look at where you are in your life and where you want to be, and then focus on the one or two things that matter.
Yeah. I think there's a couple of things when I think about a recession. So first, I think it's fair to say we did have the COVID recession, which, lasted like 7 seconds. But historically speaking, you're absolutely right. Nothing since the Great Recession. I think my biggest point about recessions that I don't think a lot of people understand, and for some people, Dana, this is their first recession as an adult. They're natural parts of the business cycle, right?
Mhm.
Lift your head up. I know we've had the longest bull market in a while, and this may have caught you by surprise. If you watch my channel, I hope it doesn't, but maybe it did. But if this is your first recession, I hope this following statement hits you the way I expect. You're going to have 5 more of these, 4 more of these. This isn't a one-off and once in a lifetime thing, right? Recessions are a natural part. So take this opportunity to learn. I remember my first recession. I was scared to death. But they do happen. And, by the third or fourth one, which is for me, it's like I saw it coming, got prepared, all of that. So that's my first thing. You're going to have multiple of these. The second thing is, you're absolutely right. And because this is the longest bull market in history, money, talent, opportunity gets misallocated. When risk is zero, capital is mistreated. It's underappreciated.
Yeah.
When talent is seemingly everywhere, you have companies like Meta and Google and others, I'm sure, just hoard talent. It's an arms race. Well, Into a recession, that becomes overhead and you get layoffs. So what does that mean? Well, that means people at the second level, companies at the second and third level, they get more talent. So not only is capital better treated, but talent is better treated. And then lastly, if you are one of those individuals that unfortunately get those layoff notices, either A, you have the skills that are wanted by the market and you're picked up very quickly, which seems to be what we're seeing in the Valley, is nobody's unemployed for very long, at least early. But it also could be a sign for others that you need to skill up in other areas, right? Is your talent and skill and experience being automated away? Is there an opportunity to do something else? For many people, this layoff will be a wake-up notice that, you know what, instead of just hanging on by my fingernails, I should go skill up. Maybe, you know what, I hope the trades pick up a lot of talent. I mean, one of the things that in the real estate game the last couple of years is nobody wanted to do construction or air conditioning or electrical or all these, and they're six-figure jobs.
Yeah.
But they're just looked down upon. So again, I think recessions are a good thing. They are normal. I think the longer a bull market goes on, the more painful it might be. And then lastly, as an investor, right, somebody who got prepared, I am looking for the gold bars and diamond rings that unprepared people leave on the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go pick them up for nothing. So recessions are good.
Yep. Yeah. And I would say with that, there's a focus and then cash is king. If there's one thing you ever learn in life, personally and professionally, it's don't run out of cash. Yeah. You never want to be in that position where you cannot pay your bills. You never want to be in that position where, as a company, you have to shut down or you have to let go of people because you don't have money.
Or sell for pennies on the dollar. Oh,
there's sell for pennies on the dollar. And so there's one thing that I've learned in life. It's don't run out of cash. And so that's where right now is the time to look at what is your financial situation and how do you improve that financial situation. And that is putting money aside, right? Making sure you invest in appreciating assets, not depreciating assets, all the things that are kind of like that finance 101. But it's good for you to spend your weekends and make sure that you're spending it on answering those questions the right way, because that is what's going to get you through the recession without it feeling like a recession. Because even if something goes wrong, you have this honeypot, you have some cash set aside or whatever it may be. So those are the two things. I think it's obviously focus and then don't run out of cash.
Yeah. Then the last thing I want to point out again, as a Silicon Valley tech executive, one of the things that I know is coming for you is less competition. Not only less competition for talent, but less companies to compete with. One of the things that you will see exiting this recession is many companies will go bankrupt. Many companies will be sold off for pennies on the dollar because of burn rate or failed proof of concept or whatever, and they can't raise. We're going to have less companies coming out. What does that really mean? The strong survive. Mm-hmm. They're allowed to get market share. They're allowed to flex. And again, recessions are a good thing. I know they're scary. I know the media wants to freak you out. But one of the things that I have learned is true game-changing technology gets created, grows, and investors build wealth. Recessions are when you have blood in the street. It's Warren Buffett's classic saying of, when the tide goes out, you see who's swimming naked. Recessions are a good thing.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think it's really good. And hopefully everyone listening has prepared themselves so they do see it as a good thing.
If you haven't prepared yourself, it's never too late. Again, I think one of the things you should do is stop spending on stupid things, figure out needs versus wants, figure out your thing. If you're going to build wealth in a recession, don't be a generalist. Go figure out your one thing. Is it stocks? Is it crypto? Is it sports cars? I don't care what it is. Go deep. Go figure it out, because you'll find somebody who has to sell something cheap. Dana, if somebody wanted to follow you or check out what Hemlane's doing, how would they do that?
Yeah, you can we are in the property management space. So we do property management across the nation. You can go to www.hemlane, which is HEMLANE.com, and just mention Zuber for 20% off your first year.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Dana.